Hey everyone, it's Hannah with the HR Partner, and next I'm going to show you how you can use the recruitment module with an HR partner to help you post jobs within the system, publish them to external job boards like Glassdoor and Indeed, review candidates within the system. You can even invite other staff members to weigh in, and then how to carry them over to employees after you've hired them. So this is sort of a multi-part process, and it's very simple, although there's a little bit of setup in the beginning. I think you guys will have a pretty easy time getting this up and running, but I'm going to go ahead and break this tutorial into a few different parts so that you can skip sections that you don't need to know. All right, so let's dive right in. So from the beginning, you're going to want to go to Recruitment, Configure, and set up your lists. And what lists are they're basically the different qualities and options you'll have within your scorecard templates. Basically what you need to know about lists are that they are the items that you'll use for your options within your templates. So under applicant stages, you're just going to want to add your options for your custom hiring workflow. So these are basically the different steps you'll have within the hiring process. So for a lot of companies, they'll have, as an example, applied, interview, and then they might have a second interview, then a reference check, and a job offer. So if you don't see the steps or the options that you usually have, then you'll want to add them here by clicking Add Applicant Stage. But if you already see all the steps right here that you want to use in the system, then go ahead and move on to the next step, which is the scorecard items. And so the scorecard items are connected to the candidate scorecard templates. And this just basically means that these are all the traits and the qualities you'll be able to evaluate candidates on, and you'll be able to actually then keep all of your reviews consistent when you're going through applications and interviews. So say you're hiring a marketing manager. That might mean that you'll want to evaluate them on qualifications like, their leadership skills, their digital marketing skills and communication. With these candidate scorecard templates, you'll be able to make sure that you're consistent in your interviews and that you're actually, reviewing candidates based on these qualities in order to stay consistent with you and your entire team or the people who will be hiring with you. So here you're basically just setting up the options that'll be within these templates. So if you don't see some common traits that you'd like to evaluate already within the system, you can go ahead and add them by clicking Add Scorecard Item. Then you can add your qualities here. All right, so now that you're done setting up your list, you're going to want to go to your templates under Configure and then click Templates. And as I said earlier, these templates are connected to the list you just set up. Next, click Add Stage Template. You can name your template anything you'd like, but I just recommend getting as specific as you possibly can, just in case you need to reuse this template in the future, or just in order to find it, you'll want to make it as specific as you can. So for this one, as an example, I'm hiring a marketing manager, so I'll just call it Marketing Manager. And the cool thing is you can actually reuse these templates in the future. So say your hiring process is the same for all managers within your company, and they all go through one interview and then a reference check and a job offer, then you can actually just, name this something like management positions, and you can actually go back and reuse it later rather than setting this up again, which is pretty cool. So like I said, name it as something as specific as possible, and then drag your different stages into the template. All right, awesome. So the next step is to set up your application forms. So when you create a job listing, you'll be able to, write down the job description and the date you'd like the job published, and you'll be able to set up all those options later. But this part it's under Recruitment, Configure, and Forms. This part is specifically just for creating the application forms. So how it works is that you can reuse application forms for multiple jobs. So say you're hiring for sales and marketing positions separately. Well, you'll be able to use, if you want, you can use the same application form, or you can create a brand new one for each specific role. It all depends on, how much you'd like to customize and how specific you'd like to get. So in order to add a new application form, which you'll want to do before you create a job within the system. Unless you want to use an old application form, then you'll add a new one by clicking this green button. Once you're here, you'll enter the form builder, which you can use these different options on the right to drag and drop to add to the form. And to edit the field names, you'll just click this little drawing button here. And you can make it a required field if you'd like. And then under label, you can type in the name of the field. When you're done with that, click close. And you can keep dragging and dropping until the form is perfect and you've asked all the questions you'd like for the application. Something really important to keep in mind is that by default, all application forms will ask for first name, last name, and email address. So you do not need to add those fields in the form builder itself because they will already be there. The other important thing to keep in mind is that there is a spot for applicants to actually upload their documents like resumes, cover letters within every application form. But if you want to ask for something in particular, like say you only want the resume, you can drag a paragraph field from over here and then click the edit button and then type in, please upload your resume below. Because at the very bottom of each application form, it'll give applicants the option to upload documents there. And so if you're asking for something specific, you can just type that in right here and they'll be prompted below that. And I'll show you a preview of what that looks like here in a second. So once you're done and everything looks good, just click Save. And then you can preview your application form by finding the form name and clicking the gray Preview button. And if everything looks good to you, you can move on to the next step, which is to create the job listing. So now that you've created the application form, you'll just create the job listing by going to Recruitment and then Jobs and click Add Job Listing. And something to keep in mind is that once you publish the job, you'll be able to see the full list of all jobs within your company by clicking this link here at the top. And this is your unique jobs link. And it shows all the open positions in your company. One other thing is before you create the job, if you want your job listings to be pushed automatically to external job board sites like Glassdoor and Indeed.com, this is an awesome way to get more visibility and more eyes on your job listings and to get more applicants automatically. And the nice thing is you don't have to do this separately. It can just be pushed automatically once you publish the job with an HR partner. And to do that, you'll just want to go to Recruitment, Configure, and then Integrations, and then switch on or off the integrations you'd like to be enabled within the system. And once you're done with that, click Save. And to start creating the job you'd like to post, go to Recruitment, Jobs, and click Add a Job Listing. And under the job title, people normally just use the position name as their title. And under summary, this is just a brief sort of summary of the job. Usually they're about 1 to 2 sentences. You'll be able to write a longer description later on in the process, which I'll show you in a second. But like I said, keep this one to just 1 or 2 sentences under the summary. And position identifier, that just means the name of the role. So in this case, I'll say Marketing Manager. And you can add a new option if it's not already here. And under employment status, you can just define whether or not it's a full-time or a part-time role. You can even select contract. And then select the department here. And under location, this just means the location that you have within HR Partner as your office. So for some people, it might just be as simple as main office, and for others, it might be more specific, but this is just for internal use only. The candidate won't see that part. And now here is where you can get more specific about the job location, and this part the candidate will see. So they'll see the city, state, country, and the zip code we recommend filling out. If you're integrating with external job board sites like Glassdoor and Indeed, you'll need to have the zip code filled out. Underneath this is where you'll write the job description, and here you can get as detailed and as long as you'd like within the description, and you can actually even copy and paste over jobs that you've already created in the past and reuse them, or you can just go ahead and type in the job description from scratch right here. It works just like any other text editor in the sense that you can customize pretty much anything you could possibly think of, like the text colors. You can create different headings, and you can edit the style in pretty much any way you'd like. You can even add images here. Under this, you'll select when you'd like the job to be published. So this just means, you can leave it blank if you'd like it to be published immediately, or you can select the date. And under until, you'll usually want to fill this out. I recommend just filling it out by default. And this just means that the job will be taken down after this point. And you can actually, if you don't fill it out now, or if you say you select 5 months from now, but you end up filling the job in 3 months, you can actually delete it, with an HR partner whenever you'd like. But in order to integrate with external job boards like Glassdoor and Indeed, they require that you have an expiration date on your job listing. So if you don't know, I would just select, like 6 months into the future or 3 months, and it'll automatically be deleted then. Under Evaluation Panel, this is just the employees you'll have within your company that'll be involved in the hiring process for this particular role. So you can, under the Admin Users section, you can invite any admin users you have with an HR partner to weigh in and provide their feedback within the hiring process. And if you don't find the admin user you're looking for, it just usually means that they're not an admin user with an HR partner. So you want to double check that they are a user under Company and Users. And this is where you assign your administrative users, and then you can select them as options right here. If they are not administrative users with an HR partner and they're just employees with an HR partner, like say a junior employee who might weigh in during the hiring process, then you can select the employees you want involved right here. You can start typing in their name too if you have a long list. So the main difference here between admin users and employees is that admin users are the only ones who will have the ability to market a candidate as hired within the system, which will mean that once you've told a candidate that they're hired, or you've given them their job offer, either over the phone or email, however it may be, then admin users will be the ones who can actually mark them as employees, which will that'll mean that they can automatically be carried over into your employees list within HR partner and taken away from the candidate list. So basically, admin users and employees will both be able to weigh in on candidates for this particular role, and they'll be able to comment on the different evaluation criteria and weigh in and share their opinions, which is really great if you'd like to collaborate with your team on new hires. If, however, it's just going to be you evaluating the candidate and no other employees or managers within your company, then that's fine too. You can just add your own name under admin users and then leave the rest blank. So next we're going to select the application stage template and the scorecard template that you set up earlier for this particular role, and this should look familiar to you as we just set it up. And like I said, you'll just select the name of the role that you had configured earlier. So I just selected marketing position, marketing scorecard, and here it'll give you a little preview of all these different steps just so you can double check that it's right. So something to keep in mind is that you'll want to double check that all these stages are correct, because once you publish a job and have applicants, it can't be changed because managers want to make sure that their hiring process is consistent. So you just want to make sure to double check that all this information is correct before you publish the job. And if all is well and it all looks good, then the final step is to select your application form. And this is just the form you created in the form builder earlier for the applications. And once you've selected the application form associated with this position, after that you can click Preview Listing to make sure everything looks good. And if everything looks good, just click Save. And after you click that Save button, your job listing will be published. All right, awesome. Let me show you really quickly what it looks like to publish the job. You just go to Recruitment, Jobs. And once you've clicked, once you've published that position, you'll see it appear here. You can view your company jobs page by clicking this link at the top. And then click View Job. And there you go. You can see the application form you created earlier along with the job description. And this will be how candidates apply for the position. Now you're probably wondering that now that your job has been published, how do you review the applicants? So it's super easy. You just go to Recruitment Jobs and click the job that you want to review the applicants for. And here you'll see a list of all the candidates for this job. So to view somebody's application, you can just click their name and click the View button. And you'll see their full responses to the application questions here at the top. Now, if you find an applicant you really love and who you think is promising, you might schedule an interview. And so in order to keep track of your interviews, instead of just entering them in a spreadsheet or your calendar, what you can do is click Add Interview. And after you've set up the interview with your candidate, maybe you talk to them on the phone about, scheduling an interview, then you would just fill out the date here and the start time. And this makes it super easy for you to keep track of all your upcoming interviews. Again, this is just for internal use only. It's just for your own records, and so you know what's coming up. And so then that way you never forget an interview coming up. And you'll actually be able to see the full list of interviews you have coming up under Recruitment in Calendar. And you can even sync these interviews to your Outlook calendar or Google Calendar with this calendar feed URL here at the bottom. And there's a full tutorial on how to do that, which I'll talk about later in this documentation. Basically, you'll want to copy this link. Anyway, that'll be a separate tutorial for a different video, and I will link to that soon. Okay, so going back to the application, so here you can see James' application right here and all of his responses. And if he uploaded a resume, you'll see it right here in this corner section, and you'll be able to click it. If you want to add any other documents for him, like say he later emails you with saying that he forgot to email his resume, you can just upload it right here for him. And so during the actual evaluation process, what's really cool is that you can evaluate the candidates based on these different qualities that you selected earlier in the process. And you can record your comments here and get into specifics, and you can later review all of these. And it makes it so much easier to make a decision about who to hire. And after you're done filling out the different qualities, just click Save Scorecard. And the really cool thing is you can click here on different staff members' names who are involved in the hiring process for this position, and you can review their ratings for all of these qualifications, and you can also view their comments to learn more about how they're feeling about a candidate. And under here you have the comment section, where if you have any kind of miscellaneous comments or things that you want to mention about an interview or a candidate, you can add them right here. And as you can see like a really great helicopter view of what's going on within the hiring process for this candidate. So something else to keep in mind is that once you found a candidate that you really like, in order to mark them as an employee in the system rather than an applicant, all you do is go to Application Action and then click Hire Applicant. And here you can fill out the specifics like their annual pay and their start date and all of this information, and they'll be added automatically as an employee with an HR partner itself. So going back to all the applications, the other thing I really wanted to point out to you was that in order to keep all of your applicants in order and well organized so that you can move them on to the different phases of the process, then all you have to do is drag and drop their names to the different stages, which makes it so easy to keep track of, how candidates are doing and how they're being evaluated within your company. Okay guys, so the next thing I wanted to show you really quickly was I wanted to show you how to associate a past applicant with a future position. And this is really great if you found a promising candidate that you want to associate with a role that might be open in the future. So to do that, you can go to Recruitment and then Applicants. And this shows you a full list of all the people who have applied for jobs within your company and what jobs they've applied for. And click on their name. And so let's say that Tony applied to be a senior pilot, but he didn't make it through the first interview, but we want to associate him with a new job. To do that, we go to Applicant Actions and click Add Job Application. And then here you can select the new position that you'd like him to be under consideration for. Then as you can see, he'll be automatically associated with this new position. All right, and the last really cool thing I wanted to show you was if you go to Recruitment and Jobs, you can actually see a view of how many people have viewed each application that your company has posted. So you can see what jobs are more popular, and you can compare them with the number of applications you're getting. And so you can kind of see how well they're converting to actual applications. Anyway, that's about it for the recruitment module, and I hope this tutorial has been useful for you. If you have any questions whatsoever, definitely shoot us an email at support@hrpartner.io.